Montreal. Pat Steinberg, FlamesNation and Sportsnet 960 DailyFaceoff's Frank Seravalli. Let's kick it off Flames-wise. And what are we hearing on Matthew Tkachuk? Because all of a sudden there's a little buzz around Matthew Tkachuk in Montreal.
Yeah, lots of people buzzed in Montreal with the draft here. Lots of energy, yes. And certainly some chatter about Matthew Tkachuk that's been out there in the hockey universe. I could say at this point what I've learned is I don't believe the Flames have a big interest in moving Matthew Tkachuk. First off, I don't know how you could do that until you have an answer one way or the other from Johnny Gaudreau. I would say when you look at Matthew Tkachuk's status, it is really interesting in that, yes, he's a restricted free agent, but Pat, he does control a little bit of his destiny in that he needs to agree to whatever contract you're offering, or he goes through the arbitration process, and it could go through with a one-year deal to make life difficult and sort of produce an exit from Calgary. I personally don't know that it'll get to that point. I think the Calgary Flames, like I said, if you're bringing Johnny Gaudreau back, your chances of bringing Matthew Tkachuk back and keeping the band together are significantly higher. So that's sort of the first domino to fall, I believe, in my opinion. There seem to be lots of suggestion, innuendo, rumors out there as we led up to the draft on Wednesday. You know, are teams lining up to try and get their hands on Matthew Tkachuk should Johnny Gaudreau not be coming back to Calgary? So there is that conversation out there. I don't think it's necessarily front burner for the Calgary Flames at the moment. These things sometimes can change, pretty quickly, but I don't think they're well down that track.
Yeah, it's just something that I think all of a sudden has popped up, and now people are a whole lot more interested as to whether or not this is something that could happen. And I just wonder about Brad Treliving planting seeds here at the draft about if that were to happen, as you said, if Johnny were to not re-sign, maybe you start to plant some
contingency plan.
Exactly.
Maybe that's what it might be, but then all of a sudden you're taking a team that won the Pacific Division last year. You're potentially taking your 115-point scorer and then another 40-goal, 100-point guy off the. Like, how do you then turn around and say this is a team that's going to be as good or competitive as they were last season? I don't see it, and that's another reason why I think this is a tough spot for the Flames as they kind of navigate this process, which has been really tricky. Pat, you think back to last summer and how the Flames are probably standing at this exact moment kicking themselves for not getting Johnny Gaudreau done then, because it would have answered a lot of questions.
Well, and then that leads to the Johnny Gaudreau question, because that's kind of what's holding everything up, and that's priority number one. They got to figure out what he's doing. We're less than a week from free agency, and we don't know where he's going, and everything that I'm led to believe is that, we're talking about a guy who really is undecided less than a week from free agency.
You hit the word right on the head, undecided, and that's truly what I believe Johnny Gaudreau is. I think he's conflicted. I think he knows the Calgary Flames have the best financial offer on the table. We've talked about this, Pat. No one's going to come close to what Calgary has the ability to offer by virtue of that 8th year, and I do think he is interested in coming back. As much pessimism as has been out there in the last few weeks, as we've sort of gotten to this moment where push comes to shove and Calgary needs an answer, I actually have a tinge of optimism myself that Johnny Gaudreau is going to make it back to Calgary, because there's no hard evidence that I can point to that says, yes, he's going to re-sign there, but I think sort of in the last few days, there's sort of been this buzz like, well, seems like he might be coming back as he's wrapped his brain around this entire process. But it's sort of been paralysis, not just for Johnny Gaudreau, paralysis by analysis, but also for the Flames, paralysis in that they can't really do any of their other off-season business until they get an answer from Johnny.
Who are the Flames taking with their 3 picks?
I don't have a crystal
155
ball.
Specifically.
I don't even know the top 100, so there you go.
If nothing happens away from the draft, it could be a quiet week or a quiet Thursday and Friday for the Flames.